Hey, what's up everyone? This is Silver Slayer. Thank you for tuning into this video. It's honestly baffling and almost hard to believe how corrupt our financial system really is. This may be shocking to you, but central banks don't always play by the rules. There's a lot of shadiness and a lot of illegal activity happening behind closed doors. Whether you want to acknowledge it, admit it, or accept it or not, it's happening. Precious metals markets are being manipulated. The prices are rigged. Now, the whole point I'm making this video is to see what percent, how big of an influence is this spoofing having on the price of gold and silver, and what would the price naturally be without this stuff? So this all started from an article I saw earlier today that came out from Bloomberg Law saying how an ex-Dutch bank analyst says he saw coworkers spoof metals markets. Now, I'm not going to sign up for a membership. I get the story, right? He saw people, his coworkers, doing illegal activity. But before we jump into this, we got to figure out what spoofing is. So there is an entire definition, but I'm going to explain my interpretation of what spoofing is. So when you're on an exchange, you can place buy and sell orders, right? Well, banks or people with a lot of money will go on, place millions of dollars in buy orders, tricking other people to think a whole bunch of silver is being bought up, and then before the order goes through, they cancel the order last second. So everyone else thought those orders go through, the volume spikes, it shifts people's perspectives and how they invest, how they place their orders, and that is a form of manipulation. It's illegal, right? And there's even a part saying why it was made illegal. So a lot of times people were doing this behind the scenes, got away with it, but last year, the judge, people made it more punishable. It's a punishable crime. 3 of JP Morgan's employees got arrested. Actually 6, and a 7th one just did as well. I'll go into that later into the video though. So why is this so important? Well, not only, just think of it like this. If 6 people got arrested for it from 3 different banks, imagine, just picture how much is actually going on. These are just the people that got caught. And when I was reading some of these articles that we'll go over in a second, they've been doing it for several years. Years and years and years and years and years. So what really is the price of silver and gold? Nobody really knows. So this is going to be an interesting video to dive into because there's so many things, so many factors, so many different angles to look at this from, but we're going to break it down right here, right now. Let's jump into it. So Scotiabank to pay more than $127 million to settle spoofing and precious metals market manipulation case. So Scotiabank, the Dutch bank, JP Morgan, Merrill Lynch, some of the banks that got caught spoofing, right? Along with that, JP Morgan got caught with millions of dollars in misprinted gold bars that were probably going to be sold on the black market. So yes, these banks are shady. Don't trust them. JP Morgan's the same company. Jamie Dimon called Bitcoin a scam last year, or a couple of years ago. And when he called Bitcoin a scam, he knew, just like spoofing, he knew he could affect people's perspectives. And when he called Bitcoin a scam, everyone sold their Bitcoin. Bitcoin price dropped drastically. Then after the price dropped thousands of dollars, then JP Morgan goes in and buys millions of dollars in Bitcoin. So you see what he did? He thought the price was too high. It was too high for him to pay. So he went on, he went on, public media, called it a scam. The price lowered $3,000. He bought it for way cheaper. He got a better price for it. Same kind of thing happens with spoofing. Now, since JP Morgan is the head of this, they're most known for their shadiness, but almost all banks are probably doing this. Now, this is Scotiabank's case. So, Bank of Nova Scotia has agreed to pay $127 million in fines to settle charges of metals market manipulation. The fines are for failing to detect and stop some traders from making fake trades specifically designed to manipulate prices. The settlement agreement was reached with the U.S. Department of Justice and the Commodity Futures Trading Commission. The CFTC. Going forwards, the bank will also have to retain an independent compliance monitor. So These record-setting penalties reflect not only our commitment to being tough on those who break the rules, but also the tremendous strides the agency has made in data analytics. And that's good, because the more punishable these crimes become, the harder it is to do this stuff, the more fair the metals markets will have, right? It's not fair if people are even if it's making the prices go up, even if it's more profitable for you and me. We got to think about, it's bigger than just, a getting rich quick scheme, right? For the long term of gold and silver, it's not healthy, even if it is making the prices work in our favor or not work in our favor. So enforcement action arose from manipulative and deceptive conduct that spanned more than 8 years and involved thousands of occasions of attempted manipulation and spoofing in gold and silver futures contracts. So it said that 4 Scotiabank traders placed orders to buy and sell precious metal contracts with the intent to cancel those orders. And this was done in an attempt to manipulate prices in the precious metal space. That's kind of what I was explaining spoofing is, right? And these activities are referred to as spoofing because they can manipulate prices and lead to a false sense of market perception. See, when you're doing this, people perceive the market to be somewhere it's not, because the orders never go through. So that is one. JP Morgan played a huge role in metal spoofing. Under U.S. criminal probe, 6, you could see right here, 6 of their employees got caught rigging precious metals futures and building criminal case against the bank itself. 2 people familiar with the situation said the previously unreported investigation of the global bank's parent company, part of a wide-ranging federal clampdown, is on market manipulation. It raises the prospect of criminal charges and significant fines against America's largest bank. And it is crazy to think, like, the largest bank is the most noted bank is doing this stuff, and it's public, and nobody knows about it, right? Nobody from mainstream life, no one that's an investor would know about this, would know how shady they are. It takes people who actually care about investing, care about the economy. Most people don't, and most people will never know how shady this bank is, right? And here's another one I just found. Another ex-JP Morgan precious metal trader pleads guilty to spoofing and is cooperating with the feds, right? So this was after the 6 people already got arrested. So this is just all over the place. It's honestly disgusting to see how much illegal activity is happening, right? Former JP Morgan precious metal trader pleaded guilty Tuesday to criminal charges of manipulating the precious metals market for 9 years. See, Scotiabank was 8 years. JP Morgan was 9 years. I mean, and then Merrill Lynch, right? There's so many, then the Dutch bank, right? So this Christian Schruns, 34, of London, is cooperating with an ongoing federal criminal investigation. The Justice Department is conducting multiple criminal investigations into big banks with cooperation of traders who have pleaded guilty to spoofing related crimes, right? This is happening. This is happening all over, and it's really interesting. Like I said, the whole point of this video is this. We know that precious metals have one of the strongest, accurate price. I guess it's hard to word this, but precious metals prices should be more accurate, should be more fair, based on supply and demand, because they have actual value in the everyday world. Whereas Bitcoin stock markets is kind of out of thin air. That's why JP Morgan was able to manipulate Bitcoin's price so easy, because Bitcoin is solely based off of speculation. Bitcoin's price is solely off of how much money goes into it and how much money comes out of it, because there's no real value. There's nothing in the everyday world that's actually being used physically. Gold and silver are, so a lot of it should be supply and demand, and that's stability. That's the intrinsic nature of precious metals. But when you apply this to the markets, now you can see why speculation is so heavy. Now you can see why prices may not reflect what it seems they should be, right? Because it makes sense that prices should be a lot different than they are now, and this stuff could play a major factor. But I am curious how big of a factor these things play. What would silver's price be right now if nobody was actually doing this stuff? It's interesting to think about. So I do wanna go a little bit more into spoofing. So I am curious because I get the gist of it, but there still is a lot of stuff I don't know, and I found this article kind of dives deeper into it. So let's go in. So we already know what spoofing is. It's also called bluffing, I guess. So why spoofing was made illegal? So in the UK, the Financial Conduct Authority and courts are authorized to fine spoofers. It's abusive strategies to act the detriment of consumers. So this is interesting right here. So criminal and civil cases. The UK and the US authorities have brought several high-profile prosecutions and civil lawsuits against spoofers, both individual and institutions, in the 2010s. So in 2013, an American trader named Michael Koska agreed to pay $2.8 million in penalties and disgorge profits to settle civil charges. Then he also paid $900,000 penalty. Then I'm trying to find more banks. I mean, a lot of people, and this is the thing. A lot of times, it's not banks, it's just whales, people that have a lot of money that can actually affect or influence the market. And that's the dangerous part, because these people can slide under the radar easier. So 2014, Chicago-based Igor Oystasher, $150,000 fine by CME. 2015 Justice Department charged Navender, a British day trader, multiple accounts of fraud and market manipulation, including one account of spoofing. In early 2018, the Dutch bank, they also got caught. JP Morgan, Merrill Lynch. So is spoofing difficult to prove? Although spoofing charges may become more common, it's often difficult. After all, traders and investors cancel trades all the time for one legitimate reason or another. And that would be hard because, who's to say the context or the meaning or the the motive behind someone's decision to cancel or not to cancel an order? That's a tricky subject. You'd probably have to look a lot into it. A lot more into it, look at the patterns, right? Look at the reasonings on why they would make that decision. That would be a difficult thing to do. So anyways, so here's the summary. Spoofing, also known as bluffing, is a manipulative trading tactic in which a trader places a large order for a financial asset with the purpose of creating the impression of interest in the asset, thus driving up its price. However, the trader has no intention of actually filling the order and instead places thousands of much smaller trades that profit on higher prices, and then cancels the larger order. Spoofing was made illegal in the US and UK, who have both penalized violations. So you can see the gist of it. You can see the purpose or why someone would have ill intent towards it, and why or how they make so much money from it. So anyways, I wanted to bring this to light because I want you guys, especially if you're a new investor, a new stacker, to know the ins and the outs, the good, the bad, the ugly of gold and silver, right? This is stuff I had no clue was going on when I first got into the markets or got into the precious metals world. It may have affected the way I invested a little bit. Not to try to push you away from precious metals, because gold and silver by far is the smartest, safest investment by tenfold, right? Nothing compares to the intrinsic matter, the intrinsic value of gold and silver. Nothing ever will. Gold and silver has been valuable for 5,000 years, since the beginning of man, and it always will be. Banks are going to come and go. Money, fiat currency systems are going to come and go, right? Bitcoin, cryptocurrency will come and go. Gold and silver will be here forever. Money is something that cannot be created nor destroyed. Gold and silver is the only thing that is money, if you go by that term. Right? You can't create gold out of thin air. You can't destroy gold. Anything else you can. All right? So I guess the whole purpose of this now is to pass the question to you. What percent do you think or how much of a factor, how big of an influence do you think this stuff has for the markets? And I guess it probably would determine during volumes of trading. And to really get a good look at this answer, you would have to go really deep into the charts, right? Because you would have to see how much volume, how much the markets were at that period of time when they were spoofing. So I don't want to get too analytical, too technical. Just an overall generalized answer response. I would love to know. Anyways, thank you for tuning into this video. If you thought this video was educational, informational, or at least as entertaining, make sure to smash the like button. Subscribe if you're new. I post daily videos. This was Silver Slayer. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.